The Stanley Cup playoffs are underway. We had the Jets against the Blues in Winnipeg, the Stars against the Avalanche in Dallas, and we've got our local experts chiming in on their teams right now on Locked On NHL Game Night.
When that final horn sounds, you know it's time for Locked On NHL Game Night. All the post-game reactions to every game across the league, every single night, with insights only the hosts at Locked On can provide. Prepare to experience game day reactions like never before. Only on Locked On NHL Game Night. Your team every day.
Hey, hockey fans, welcome to Locked On NHL Game Night, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your teams every day. Thanks for making Locked On NHL Game Night your place to get a recap of the night in the NHL. We are available 7 days a week wherever you get your podcasts and on YouTube. Today's episode is brought to you by Gametime. Download the Gametime app, create an account, and use the code LOCKEDONNHL for $20 off your first purchase. I'm Eddie Garcia, an LA Kings fan on the West Coast, riding solo, but ready to bring you all the goals, saves, big moments, and stories from the night in the Stanley Cup playoffs, the opening night of the Stanley Cup playoffs. And we start with our opening game of the playoffs. That was north of the border in Winnipeg, where the Jets were hosting the St. Louis Blues. We had the traditional whiteout in Winnipeg, which is always an awesome sight, although also a little bit odd because the Jets are never wearing white when they have the whiteout at home. But the Jets, first-time division champs, first-time President Trophy winners, but recent underachievers in the postseason, were playing a big game one. Could their star goalie, Connor Hellebuyck, exercise some of his playoff demons? Yes, he's almost certainly going to win his third Vezina Trophy, and he's a strong candidate for the Hart Trophy as league MVP. We're going to talk more about that coming up. But in the playoffs, Connor Hellebuyck in his career coming into this game, just a 2-8 postseason record. It's been a great regular season for not only Hellebuyck, but the Jets, but they need to be great in the postseason. On the other side, the Jets would be opposed by Jordan Bennington, never won a Vezina, but he has won a cup, and he bested Hellebuyck and Team USA in the Four Nations face-off for Canada. So he has played in big games and gotten some big wins. Could he do it again with this scrappy Blues team that has been here before? Just a couple seasons back, they made an in-season coaching change, got hot in the second half, and went all the way to the playoffs and eventually won their first ever Stanley Cup. Could they use that formula to go to another Stanley Cup title this year? We even had a battle of brothers in this one as Braden Shen of the Blues was taking on Luke Shen of the Jets. As for the ER report in this one, for Winnipeg, no Nikolai Ehlers or Gabe Vilardi, a couple of top six forwards out of the lineup due to injury. And for St. Louis, no Dylan Holloway, their second leading goal scorer and third leading points producer in the regular season. As for game one, we would be tied 2-2 after one. The Blues led 2-1 after two. But in the third, the Jets would score two big goals and then an empty netter to seal it. And Winnipeg Jets pull out a game one victory, 5-3. Let's get a report on this game from one of our local experts, the host of Locked On Jets.
60 minutes between Winnipeg and St. Louis are any indication, this is going to be one roller coaster of a ride. Harrison Lee from Locked On Winnipeg Jets coming to you right after game one between the Blues and Jets. What a thrill ride. Winnipeg came down multiple times and had to come from behind in fashions that we don't often see from this Jets team. Following a regular season matchup just a few weeks ago where the Jets embarrassed the Blues 4-0, this game was hard fought to the last minute. It took miraculous efforts from the top line of Connor Scheifele and Iafallo, plus some depth contributions from players like Jarrett Anderson-Dolan and a number of other guys to really step up and come through in what was a back-and-forth, high-event, high-intensity, high-physicality game. This game, as the series opener, really sets the tone for what should be a very back-and-forth series. Questionable officiating for the very first game of the NHL 2025 playoffs unfortunately almost derailed things, but Winnipeg held tough and proved that this year, this team is 100% for real. Will we see the same lineup come to Monday here for game two? We'll have to wait and see. Not every part of this team was 100% the way that Arniel would like it. The third D pairing had some issues. There was poor puck management at times, but in the critical third period where the Jets absolutely needed a hero to step up, Alex Iafallo ties the game, and suddenly the Jets are really able to take over and suffocate the Blues. Game two, Monday, going to be an absolute thrill ride before the Jets hit the road on, for his big St. Louis pair of games. We'll just have to see how long the series goes. If you thought that this was going to be an easy 4-and-out, you were mistaken. Winnipeg is going to have to fight for every goal and every moment, and what a way to start the 2025 NHL playoffs. You can follow along on all of our podcast channels, including YouTube at Locked On Winnipeg Jets. Will be covering the playoffs the whole way through. We will see you there. For now, have a great night, and as always, go Jets, go.
All right, thanks to Harrison Lee, the host of Locked On Jets, for that report. As the President's Trophy winners, and with their lack of postseason success recently, all the pressure is on the Jets. And early on, I thought it showed in this game, but to their credit, as the game wore on, they got better. And obviously, as he mentioned, the top line of Mark Scheifele, Kyle Connor, and Alex Iafallo came up huge. Iafallo only on the top line because of the injury to Gabe Vilardi, scores the game-tying goal. Mark Scheifele had a goal and 2 assists, and the beautiful primary assist on the game-winning goal to Kyle Connor, who also had a goal and 2 assists, of course, the game winner, with just over a minute and a half left in regulation. For Jets goalie Connor Hellebuck, who also has a ton of pressure on him. The stats don't look great. 3 goals allowed on 17 shots, a save percentage of .824, but none of his goals that he gave up were soft goals. 2 of them were with his team shorthanded, all quality shots in dangerous scoring areas, all in the top part of the net. Felt like a huge Game 1 win, considering the way the Jets have come up small in the postseason recently. Harrison Lee said the Jets are 100% for real. Solid starts. I'm going to have to wait and see a little bit more before I think that this is a Stanley Cup contender because of their postseason lack of success, but we shall see. It was a big Game 1 win for sure. On the other side of things, the St. Louis Blues come up just short, but I thought overall, not a bad effort for the 8th seed in the West. Let's get a report on this game from the host of Locked On Blues.
All 5-3 to the Winnipeg Jets. This was not the result any of us wanted. The Jets played really aggressive offensively. Personally, when the game began, I felt really confident that the Blues were going to win this one. Robert Thomas scored, Oscar Sundqvist, and then, of course, Jordan Kyrou. But Jordan Kyrou actually had a really close opportunity to score his second goal of the game and was able to follow through with it. So that was a bummer because in hindsight, that could have made a huge difference if the Blues went up by 2 goals. I actually thought Jordan Binnington did play a good game. Obviously, Zach Bolduc had a really stupid penalty. But towards the end of the contest, it got a little bit chippy. And you know what? At the end of the day, this is a series, okay? So I said Blues in 6, and I still stand by that. And while Winnipeg only held the Blues to a few shots on net in the final frame, the Blues still put up 3 goals against this Winnipeg team. It's not a series until the away team wins.
All right, thanks to Haley Taylor Simon for that report, the host of Locked On Blues. And I agree with her. I was impressed with the Blues. As she said, their big players did show up, Jordan Kyrou and Robert Thomas. Credit the Blues for taking advantage of some opportunities. They went 2 for 3 on the power play. Obviously, they're going to need to generate some more offense 5-on-5. But I thought for most of the game, I thought they played pretty well. I thought they played at their preferred pace. I think St. Louis wants it to be a slower, grinded out type of game. I thought they did a good job against the Jets' number 1 ranked power play, killing off 3 of the 4 opportunities. And as Haley said, do need to avoid dumb retaliation penalties like Zach Bolduc did. Fortunately, that didn't hurt the Blues in that situation. But it also did feel like a little bit of a missed opportunity, though, for the St. Louis Blues. Having the lead going into the third period, you know that it would have gotten more and more pressure in that building as the game went along, but the Jets were able to get that goal from Alex Iafallo and get the win. I also agree with Haley in that I thought Jordan Binnington was pretty solid. Despite the 4 goals allowed on 25 shots, he was certainly the busier of the 2 goalies. I do think that the one he would like to have back, though, was that Iafallo game-tying goal, just kind of snuck under his pad from in close. And as Haley said, there was some nastiness at the end of this game, which should obviously only intensify as we go along. Good Game 1, good opening game of the Stanley Cup playoffs, but a big Game 1 victory, in my opinion, for the Winnipeg Jets. Up next, we've got the Stars against the Avalanche with some Mikko Rantanen drama in the mix. We'll give you all the details on that. It's Game 1 between Dallas and Colorado. That's next on Locked On NHL Game Night. Did you know that your Fire TV is also an Xbox? Turn any TV into your gaming and entertainment hub with Fire TV Stick 4K devices, no console required. Just grab your paired controller, subscribe or sign in to Xbox Game Pass Ultimate with EA Play included, and you're ready to play. Dive into hundreds of premium titles from EA Sports College Football 25 to Call of Duty Black Ops 6 and Avowed as easily as you stream your favorite shows. It's gaming made simple, and it's all for your Fire TV. With 4K streaming, watch more than 1.5 million movies and TV episodes from your favorite subscribed devices like Netflix, Prime Video, Disney Plus, Max, and more. Also, you can just head over to amazon.com/Fire TV Locked On to get started. That's amazon.com/Fire TV Locked On. Xbox Game Pass Ultimate subscription and comparable controls required. Available on select devices, including Fire TV Stick 4K 2nd Gen, Fire TV Stick 4K Max 2nd and 1st Gen, and Fire TV Cube 3rd Gen. All right, one game down, one game to go. We had the opening game out west between the Dallas Stars and the Colorado Avalanche. Dallas holding home ice in this one, but not because of how they played down the stretch. Now, about a month ago, I thought this was going to be the best opening round matchup of the Stanley Cup playoffs, even with that great matchup in the East between Tampa Bay and Florida. I thought the Mikko Rantanen drama added a little extra spice into this one. But the Stars ended the season on a season-high 7-game losing skid. Then they lost their leading scorer, Jason Robertson, in the regular season finale. And at least for the start of the first round of the playoffs, star defenseman Miro Heiskanen not available to come back from a lingering injury. As for the Avs, they did a team makeover on the fly during the season. During the season, they traded not one, but 2 goalies and then made some major additions at the trade deadline. And oh, by the way, traded away star Mikko Rantanen because they didn't think they were going to be able to sign him at the end of the season as an unrestricted free agent. He was dealt to Carolina, but then dealt from the Hurricanes to the Avalanche Central Division rivals, the Dallas Stars, and now facing his old team in the playoffs. Oh, by the way, mix in a couple of superstars in Nathan McKinnon and Cale Makar. And this series, while maybe not as good as I was hoping it was going to be, still a pretty intriguing matchup. Goalie matchup in this one, Jake Ottinger starting for Dallas, making his 46th career playoff start against Colorado's Mackenzie Blackwood, making his first ever postseason start. As for this one, it was tight throughout. We had a scoreless opening period. Second period, though, the Avs would score a couple of goals with a little puck luck. In the third, Dallas made it 2-1 and made things interesting, but Avs defenseman Devon Toews would score to make it 3-1. That was the big goal of the game. Colorado tacks on a couple of late goals. Final score 5-1. Avalanche win on the road in a game that was actually a lot closer than that final score would indicate. Let's get a report on this game from both of our local experts in Colorado, the hosts of Locked On Avalanche.
All right, so the Colorado Avalanche take game 1 of their first round series with the Dallas Stars, and that is exactly what you want when you are the road team in these series, Kyle. The Avs going in, it was a 5-1 score, maybe a little bit inflated on the goals, but the Avs put on a lot of goals towards the end there. But it was a tight game, but I thought overall the Avs played a very sound game for really a full 60.
Yeah, and you got contributions from Nathan McKinnon, 3 points. You got Mackenzie Blackwood, his first start, he had .852 save percentage, and the Avs didn't buckle to the Dallas Stars' physical play. Like the Avs continued doing what they did, and they didn't give up their mission, which is good when you're on the road. The Avs stuck to their guns, and it paid off towards the end. And this is positives that you want to see, especially with both teams kind of on a skid heading into the playoffs. Seeing these positive, honestly, this goes through playoff experience. Seeing Nathan McKinnon and the team not give in to extra physical play and staying the course, it's a good start to this playoff series.
Yeah, and if you're the Avalanche, you have to take advantage for as long as guys like Robertson and Miro Heiskanen are out. You have to take advantage of those games and suck away as many wins as possible, because when those guys come back, they are difference makers. So you get a huge win while they're out. That's great. You mentioned Mackenzie Blackwood. What a difference maker he was in this game. Like you said, his first playoff start, and he was everything that they need him to be in this game, and really for as long as the Avalanche are in these playoffs.
Yeah, especially when you mentioned the Stars that are out. They still have Mikko Rantanen and they have Matt Duchene,
Sure.
Former Avalanche players that at home in Dallas could cause a lot of emotion and really turn the tide your way. And for Mackenzie Blackwood to look as good with all of those elements in his face, This is really positive things, and you're really looking forward to how do you respond in game 2. But game 1, you answered the call.
Aces. So we will see how game 2 goes. But for right now, you got to feel good if you are an Avs fan. Tune into Locked On Avalanche. We're breaking this whole thing down.
All right, thanks to Chris Maselli and Kyle Sullivan, the hosts of Locked On Avalanche, for that report. And the guys were right. Mackenzie Blackwood was great. I was very impressed with his performance, especially this being his first ever start in the Stanley Cup playoffs. Nathan MacKinnon showed up. No surprise there. 2 goals and an assist. He's one of the elite players in the NHL. And always a very good thing when you can win game 1 of a playoff series on the road, as Chris and Kyle alluded to. Now, Joey Erickson, our local expert from Locked On Stars, was unable to join us, so I'm going to play his role tonight. And yes, the Stars lost game 1 on home ice. And yes, they've now lost 8 in a row, including the regular season. But I actually thought they were right there in this game. And if you're a Stars fan, you probably think, no way Mackenzie Blackwood is going to be that good the rest of the series. Plus, the Avalanche, their first 2 goals were fluky goals. One of them was kicked in. And yes, it was a distinct kicking motion, but it wasn't deliberate. The Avalanche player was going down on the ice and his leg swung up and just happened to kick it in off the post and in. It was one of the most bizarre goals you'll see, but I thought the correct call was made by the officials and they upheld it with review. And then the other goal, the goal that made it 2-0, goes off of the Stars defender. It knuckled in past Jake Ottinger. So you can certainly make your argument that good teams make their own luck, but the bounces didn't really go Dallas's way in this one. And like I said, I thought that the Stars actually played a pretty good game, especially considering the way they came in to this game on the losing skid. They got a goal from Rope Hentz, but they will need more from guys like Matt Duchene, Wyatt Johnston, and Mikko Rantanen. How did the former Avs star do against his old team? Not much of an impact. No points, 3 shots on goal. He was a -2 in 18 minutes and 3 seconds. So again, Colorado getting the big road win in game 1 of their series against the Stars. Also worth noting, you might be curious, didn't mention him, and that's because we did not see the return of Avalanche captain Gabriel Landeskog in this one. Hasn't played, or I should say he did play a couple of games in the AHL as he's trying to return from a very serious knee injury. It's cost him 3 years. No NHL player has ever returned to NHL action from suffering that knee injury that he suffered. Will we see him in the series? Don't know. Didn't see him in game 1. Will the Avs maybe have his return be a little bit strategic when they need some kind of an emotional boost? Because if they bring him in at home in the lineup, that place is going to go insane. Maybe they want to wait until they're at home before they play him, or maybe he's unable to come back. We don't know. What we do know is that, again, we did not see Gabriel Landeskog in the opener for the Colorado Avalanche. All right, up next, we have our 3 stars of the night. We had a couple of NHL coaches fired we'll tell you about. And I'm going to give out my NHL awards for this season. That is next here on Locked On NHL Game Night. There is nothing like the energy of a live game, whether it's catching a last-minute NHL showdown or soaking in the excitement of an NBA matchup. But finding great seats at a great price, that used to be a challenge until I found Gametime. Gametime makes scoring last-minute tickets easier than ever. Prices actually drop as the event gets closer, and with their all-in pricing, you can see the total cost upfront, no surprises at checkout. Save up to 60% off buying last minute for sports, concerts, comedy, and theater events. And with the seat view before you buy, no surprise fees, and the lowest price guaranteed, you can book with total confidence. Their lowest price guarantee means I never worry about overpaying. Take the guesswork out of buying tickets with Gametime. Download the Gametime app, create an account, and use the code LOCKEDONNHL for $20 off your first purchase. Terms apply. Again, that's code LOCKEDONNHL, LOCKEDON for $20 off. Download Gametime today. Last minute tickets, lowest price guaranteed. All right, just 2 games to open the Stanley Cup playoffs, but we still had some good players to choose from. For our 3 stars of the night, my number 3 star, I'm going with Kyle Connor of the Winnipeg Jets. 1 goal and 2 assists with the game-winning goal in that big win for the Winnipeg Jets over the St. Louis Blues. My number 2 star, let's go with Avs superstar Nathan MacKinnon with 2 goals and an assist. But my number 1 star of the night, I'm going with Mackenzie Blackwood, the goaltender for Colorado. 23 saves, several of them in the high-quality variety as he wins his playoff debut. Now it is the offseason for 16 other non-playoff teams, and 'tis the season for coaches to be fired, and 2 of them were let go on Saturday. One of them was expected, the other maybe a little bit of a surprise. I think the one that was not a surprise was the New York Rangers firing Peter Laviolette. Now, on the surface, this might seem shocking considering that just last season, Laviolette led the Rangers to a 55-23-4 record and 114 points, franchise records for wins and points in a season. And that's an Original Six franchise that's been around a while. They won the President's Trophy for the best regular season record, and they made it to the Eastern Conference Finals. But in the what have you done for me lately department, the Rangers this season went 39-36-7, and of course missed the playoffs entirely, becoming the 4th team ever to win the President's Trophy one season and then missed the playoffs the next season. More than that, though, it seemed pretty clear that Laviolette had lost this team. The Rangers still had opportunities late in the season to string some wins together and get into the playoffs, but there were key games where the team flat out didn't show up. That can't happen. And in a place like New York, where expectations are high, it meant a coaching change. Now, as for who will be the next coach in the Big Apple, we don't know, but it looks like the man who's going to be able to make that decision is General Manager Chris Drury. Some had wondered if he would be out as well, but it looks like he's going to be retained, and it looks like he will get to hire his second coach. He hired Peter Laviolette, which initially looked like a great hire, but not so good in year number 2. As for Laviolette, we told you that, what he did just a season ago. So don't be surprised if he gets a chance to coach his 7th NHL team, maybe as soon as next season. He's a Stanley Cup winner, and he's 7th on the all-time NHL coaches wins list. Also on Saturday, the Ducks fired their head coach, Greg Cronin. A little bit of a surprise. Like Laviolette, he was in his 2nd year on the job. The Ducks finished 12th out of 16 teams in the West with a 35-37-10 record, but with 80 points, they were actually 21 points better than the season before, but I guess that progress was not good enough in the eyes of general manager Pat Verbeek. Where the Ducks go from here, not sure. Who knows? Maybe Peter Laviolette lands on his feet in Orange County. There are some other teams that are going to be looking for head coaches in the NHL other than the Rangers and Ducks, the Flyers, the Blackhawks, the Bruins, and depending on what happens with Rick Tocchet in Vancouver, possibly the Canucks as well. All right, we're going to wrap up the show with me handing out my award winners for this NHL season. And let's start with the award that no one wants to win, because it always seems like whoever wins this award gets fired not long after. And we just talked about coaches getting fired, but let's name the Jack Adams Award winner for Coach of the Year. As for the 2 finalists that I think will come up just short, I've got Spencer Carberry of the Washington Capitals. Did a tremendous job, obviously, with the Caps, leading them to the Eastern Conference's best record, being able to navigate the Alexander Ovechkin record chase as well. And it just seemed like it was never a distraction for that team. I think Spencer Carberry's done a terrific job. I think he should be a finalist for the award. I'm also going to go with Jim Montgomery of the St. Louis Blues. Maybe rare that a coach that is brought in season wins this award, but the way he was able to get the St. Louis Blues together after he gets fired from Boston, comes in, adjusts quickly, gets them on a winning streak, and gets them into the playoffs, I think that he should be a finalist as well. But my selection for the Jack Adams Award for Coach of the Year is Dean Evason of the Columbus Blue Jackets. I know they didn't make the playoffs, but for him to deal with all the things he had to deal with, the tragic death of Johnny Gaudreau, his first year on the job, and he got them within a hair of making it to the playoffs. Nobody thought the Columbus Blue Jackets were going to do anything this year. I think Dean Evason, for the job he did, is my Jack Adams Award winner. How about the Calder Trophy for Rookie of the Year? 2 finalists. I'm going with Dustin Wolf, the netminder in Calgary. Did a tremendous job this year. Got them so close to getting into the playoffs. He's a legit goalie for years to come in Calgary. And for the other finalist, it's a coin toss for me between Matvei Michkov of Philadelphia and Macklin Celebrini of San Jose. They finished with the exact same number of points. Michkov had 1 more goal, so maybe that's the tiebreaker with those 2. But my winner is Canadiens defenseman Lane Hudson. Broke multiple records his rookie season. All-time record for assists by a rookie for rookie defenseman with 60. First rookie defenseman to reach 60 points in the 21st century. He passed Chris Chelios for most rookie defensive points in Canadians history. And unlike the other two talented first-year players that we talked about, had a key role in his team making the playoffs. So I am going with Lane Hudson as my Calder Trophy winner. Norris Trophy for Defenseman of the Year. I think Zach Werenski is worthy of being a finalist with the Columbus Blue Jackets. Had a great year for Columbus, led them in points this season. And I think Cole Hudson had a good enough season with Montreal to be a finalist for the Norris. I know Quinn Hughes is amazing. He's a tremendous player, but he was hurt a lot. And I think that hurts his chances. He'll probably still get it, frankly, over Cole Hudson. I don't think people want to have a rookie there, but I would go with Cole Hudson. But my winner is, no surprise, Cale Makar of the Colorado Avalanche. 30 goal scorer this season. That hasn't been done in a while. 92 points. He is going to win his second Norris Trophy. I will say this, and I've talked about this many times on other shows that I've done. The NHL has the Selke Trophy for the best defensive forward. They need to have a trophy for the best defensive defenseman. So a guy like a Jacob Slavin and players like him can be recognized. This has turned too much into an offensive award. So I think we need to have two awards. Have the Norris Trophy go to the best offensive defenseman and have another award for the best defensive defenseman. Those guys need to be recognized as well. Vezina Trophy for the top goalie. My two finalists, Andre Vasilevsky in Tampa Bay and Darcy Kemper in Los Angeles. Yes, I'm a Kings fan. He is getting overlooked by a lot of the national media. I'm looking at you, Henrik Lundqvist. He's had a phenomenal year in LA. Maybe gets overlooked because he's on the West Coast, but Darcy Kemper deserves to be a finalist along with Tampa Bay's Andre Vasilevsky. But the winner is, yes, Connor Hellebuck. He is going to win his third Vezina Trophy. As for the Hart Trophy for MVP, Connor Hellebuck, I think, should be a finalist. I also think that Leon Draisaitl should be a finalist, led the league in goals, even though he missed a significant part of the season at the end of the year. Still easily won the Rocket Richard Trophy for beating the leading goal scorer in the league. And I also think the man who won the Art Ross Trophy as the points champion this year, that would be Nikita Kucherov in Tampa Bay. He deserves to be a finalist as well. And I don't normally think goalies should be in consideration for the Hart unless they've had tremendous seasons. But I think Connor Hellebuck has had that season. If he wins, he's my choice. If he wins, he would be, I think it's the sixth goalie to win MVP. Dominic Hasek did it twice. Most recently, you had guys like Jose Theodore and Carey Price win as well. But his numbers are all very comparable to guys like Carey Price and Dominic Hasek. Hellebuck, 47 wins, 47, 12, and 3, the record. Franchise record for wins in a season. He finished first in goals against average at 2.01. He was second by 1/100th of a point in save percentage behind Anthony Stolarz, and he led the league with 8 shutouts. So again, a dominant season for Connor Hellebuck. I think he takes home both the Vezina and the Hart for league MVP. All right, that's going to do it for this episode of Locked On NHL Game Night. You got a taste of some of our local experts on this show. Make sure you check out the Locked On NHL of your favorite NHL team to keep you updated on that team every day, especially if your team is in the playoffs. We've got 3 more playoff games coming up on Sunday. The opener between the Hurricanes and the Devils, Senators and Maple Leafs, and the Golden Knights against the Wild. I'm Eddie Garcia. Thank you for listening and watching Locked On NHL Game Night, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your teams every day. Continue to enjoy the Stanley Cup playoffs, and happy Easter.